Becoming a great MMA fighter relies on skills, intelligence, and strength rather than just height. While it might seem like taller fighters have the upper hand, it's a bit of a flip side game. It all comes down to managing distance. The fighter who masters range control gains the advantage. Join us in this video as we uncover the tallest and smallest fighters in UFC history. Let's start with the tall guys. 10. Alexander Volkov, 6 foot 5 inches, 201 centimeter. The Russian heavyweight, Alexander Volkov is the tallest fighter currently in the UFC. Volkov entered the UFC in 2016 and currently ranks 8th in the heavyweight division. He kicked off his journey in Dana White's promotion with an impressive 4 consecutive wins, coming close to a title bout. However, his UFC journey hit a snag when he suffered a knockout loss to Derek Lewis at UFC 229, just 11 seconds before the end of the final round. Following his first UFC loss, Volkov's performance has been a mix of wins and losses. 9. Tim Sylvia, 6 foot 6 inches, 203 centimeter. Next up is Tim Sylvia, towering at an impressive 6 foot 6 inches. Sylvia, a former UFC champion with 2 successful belt defenses, had a long MMA career spanning from 2001 to 2013. He enjoyed a remarkable start, winning his first 16 professional MMA bouts until he faced Frank Mir. Tim knocked out Andrei Arlovski to claim the heavyweight championship in 2006. He lost the belt the following year to Randy Couture and never reclaimed the top spot. Throughout his career, Sylvia faced formidable opponents like Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, Fedor Emelianenko, Mariusz Pudzianowski, and Tony Johnson. But despite his impressive record, he never managed to secure another championship title. 8. Paul Verhoeven's 6 foot 6 inches, 203 centimeter. Let's remember Paul Verhoeven, the American giant standing tall at 6 foot 6 inches, affectionately known as the polar bear. Sadly, he's no longer with us. Paul took part in the early UFC bouts during the 1990s, including UFC 6, UFC 7, and UFC 8, although he didn't achieve significant success during those events. His MMA career spanned 2.5 years, from July 1995 to July 1998, where he participated in a total of 18 bouts, earning 9 wins and 9 losses. In 1998, Paul Verhoeven decided to retire from the sport and never stepped into the cage again. 7. Wes Sims, 6 foot 7 inches, 206 centimeter. Wes Sims concluded his MMA career in 2016, but his record at 24-15-1-2 might not grab the headlines. Wes Sims had a stint in the UFC from 2003 to 2004, though it's a period he probably prefers to forget, given his 3 early losses. After 2004, Sims ventured into smaller promotions, where he embarked on an impressive streak of 8 consecutive wins. In 2009, Wes joined the 9th season of The Ultimate Fighter reality show. Although he eventually left the show, he remained a familiar face on the screen, making his mark in the world of MMA. 6. Gan McGee, 6 foot 8 inches, 208 centimeter. Meet Gan McGee, a colossal figure standing at an astounding 6 foot 8 inches. The Giant. Gan McGee hasn't stepped into the octagon for an impressive 13 years, with his last fight dating back to 2009. McGee began his professional MMA journey in 1999, amassing a record of 13 wins and 5 losses from his 18 bouts. The Giant made his UFC debut in November 2000, where he faced Josh Barnett and was knocked out in the 2nd round. After this loss, he took a hiatus from Dana White's promotion, returning a couple of years later with 2 victorious outings. This resurgence led to a title fight against Tim Sylvia, although McGee fell short in the championship bout and hasn't graced the UFC stage since. Now, let's get to the smallest fighters in UFC history. 5. Jard Brooks, 5 foot 2 inches, 160 centimeter. Jard Brooks, standing at just 5 foot 2 inches, certainly holds a unique place in the UFC history books. His 4-fight journey in the organization was quite unconventional, resulting in a 2-2 record. What sets Brooks apart is that 3 of his fights ended in split decisions, and the 4th ended in a KO loss due to a self-inflicted slam. A moment that went viral and became his signature. Although he's no longer in the UFC, it's worth noting that Brooks' only 2 career losses were against tough opponents like Deiveson Figueiredo. 4. John Lineker, 5 foot 2 inches, 160 centimeter. John Lineker, standing at just 5 foot 2 inches, might not have the typical stature of a fighter, but he made up for it with sheer bulk. Interestingly, he began his UFC career in the flyweight division, but struggled to make weight, missing it 4 times. Ordinarily, missing weight can lead to a fighter's release, but Lineker's exciting fighting style and success in most of his bouts led the UFC to encourage him to move up to the bantamweight division. However, he still encountered weight issues, even at bantamweight. The UFC was forced to let him go after his contract expired. 3. John Dodson, 5 foot 2 inches, 160 centimeter. John Dodson, officially listed at 5 foot 2 inches, stands as one of the shortest UFC fighters and is undeniably one of the most thrilling competitors in the lower weight divisions. The magician Dodson contended for the flyweight title on 2 occasions. He used his agility and speed to launch impressive combinations against his opponents. Eventually, he transitioned to the bantamweight division, but struggled to maintain consistent momentum after his 2nd title fight, often alternating between wins and losses. 2. Demetrious Johnson, 5 foot 2 inches, 160 centimeter. Demetrious Johnson, standing at a compact 5 foot 2 inches, might be one of the shortest fighters in UFC history, but his stature certainly didn't hinder his incredible success. Mighty Mouse, Johnson proved to be a dominant force, achieving an unparalleled record-breaking streak of 11 title defenses. He made history by becoming the inaugural UFC flyweight champion and held onto that title for an impressive 6 years before eventually losing it. 1. Hector Sandoval, 5 foot 1 inches, 157 centimeter. Hector Sandoval holds a unique distinction as the shortest male UFC fighter in history. In his brief 4-fight UFC career, he made quite an impact with a 2-2 record, and notably, only 1 of his fights went to the scorecards. Sandoval began with an impressive first-round knockout victory against Matt Schell, but faced a quick knockout himself just a few months later when Dustin Ortiz defeated him in a mere 15 seconds. Unfortunately, this led to his departure from the UFC roster. Which of these fighters did you least expect to succeed in the promotion? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you enjoyed watching this video, you would want to check out our next 2 videos.